Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Tool Talk. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. You can find it anytime during this video in the little icon at the bottom right hand corner. Really appreciate it, and if you like this video at the end, please hit that thumbs up. And as always, if you have any comments, please put them below, whether it be on what else you would like to see in the videos, or if you have any other opinions on this tool or the other tools in question today. So for today's tool talk, I want to talk about this guy. It is the Stanley Sweetheart low angle jack plane. It's the number 62. It's kind of a remake of the Sweetheart series that was made a long time ago when I guess Stanley used to make good tools in the hand tools world, when they were kind of the only ones on the market aside from a few others. But they were the big name, and they slowly kind of died off. Well, they're back in the game with the whole Sweetheart lineup, and I have almost all of those tools, and I've had them for a few years now, and I hope to do more videos on them to come. But today we're going to talk about why I ended up getting this one over its competitors. Those competitors are going to be the Lie-Nelson version, the Veritas, and the Wood River version. Those are ones that I got to use throughout my schooling for a few years when I was at Tech getting my degree in fine woodworking. And after using all of them, I ended up opting for this one. And when I did get it, I actually got it for $109 on sale on Amazon. And you can watch, they have those sales every once in a while. But I've had this plane for a few years now, and it's held up great. Even if it's not on sale, it retails for about $135, give or take $5. And at that price point, it's still significantly cheaper than its competition. That's not the only reason why I bought this plane. I bought this plane because of just how great it really is, just out of the box. I had a few complications when I received it, but my guess is, and from reading other people's reviews on it, nobody else had that problem that I had. It was just an unfortunate thing that happened, and I'll go over that later in the close-up, but this is the Stanley Sweetheart number 62 low angle jack plane. Alright, so this is the tool we're going to talk about today. It is the Stanley Sweetheart number 62 low angle jack. But before I go into detail on the tool, I kind of want to talk about the box. And I'll give you the main reason why. And it's not what you think. I will show you how it comes packaged. It is a box that looks just like this. It's wrapped in this anti-rust goo coated paper and then a little cardboard prop to keep it from bouncing around in there. But that is good and all, but this right here should say made in Mexico, if it'll focus. And that is the most important thing. Think about this tool, because that determines its quality and finish. And this tool is a couple of years old, so it's used, but I mean, it is still in really good shape. It was flat out of the box. The finish quality of this was fantastic. It almost had an iridescent kind of look to it. And so, as you can see, this has lasted pretty long. It is the little laser engraving. Kind of hard to focus on it, but there it is. What it is, it's a nice little touch. It might be a bit of a gimmick, but it is what it is. So, their Sweetheart lineup of tools are either made in Mexico or China. And the Mexico ones I found are great. This finish has that iridescence to it. It is square. It is perfect. The made in China, as you will see in another video, the finish looks horrid. It is awful. It looks like it was drugged through some gravel. Regardless of what you do, it's going to look like that. And so, kudos for the Made in Mexico Stanleys because they look great. I do want to talk about this though. You might see this little spot right here. When I got this, the goo covered anti-rust paper that I mentioned earlier that it was packaged in had consolidated all of its goo to go onto the handle right there, and it actually had a little dome of solidified green goo. I was a little disappointed in that because I like my tools to look nice out of the box, and it looked great except for this ugly spot on here, and it doesn't look near as bad because I sanded it down and refinished it, but it stained that little spot. As far as I know, I'm the only one with that problem. I can't find it anywhere else on the internet. But other than that, I mean, it looked really good. The handles are solid cherry, and the finish and feel are actually really nice. This is probably going to be my only other major complaint. This guy right here looks fantastic. I love the Sweetheart logo, but it's aluminum. Why, Stanley? I don't understand why. This is such a small little piece. It couldn't have cost that much more to do it out of any other material, much less aluminum. So, I mean, it serves its function fine. I just hate the fact that my whole plane is being held together with aluminum as far as holding the blade down. My fear is that this one day might strip the threads. It's unlikely, but it still could happen, and that would make me really sad when it could have just been avoided altogether. Alright, so aside from that, the best part about this plane, in my opinion, is the blade, and I'll show you why. For a plane that costs less than $150, you get A2 steel, and it's pre-ground to a 25-degree bevel, and it's marked there so you can see what it is. And let me tell you, this was sharp right out of the box. It's been sharpened since then because I have used it quite a bit on actually a lot of my furniture that I've made. But it is a remarkable blade right out of the box for less than $150. So it is a Norris style adjuster, so you get your forwards and backwards and your lateral movement with this guy. Pops right out, and then it also has a throat depth adjuster. You loosen the knob, and then you slide this brass little bit left or right, which closes the gap at the throat or at the mouth. And it's just a really nice function if you're wanting to double this plane as a scrub plane. It does great at that. The adjustment really locks down. And so the bed is ground completely flat. I mean, I took a straight edge. I had to do no work to it whatsoever. And so with all of these things already, it's just an amazing tool at its price point. And so this is another cool thing. The bottom was ground completely flat. I had to do zero lapping at all. So the bottom is also ground completely square to the sides. So if you are shooting, you know you're going to get a perfect 90 degree on it. So, its competitors. The two big ones are going to be Lie-Nelson and Veritas. I say Wood River because they have one too, but I have not had good luck with Wood River tools at all. I've had their planes and their chisels. and I got rid of them. I don't even own them anymore because of how much work I had to put into them, and at their price point, it's way too much work. I never could get the hand plane to work right for me, and so I would not recommend theirs at all. So I'm not even going to compare it. But what I will compare to is the Lie-Nelson. Most because it's an exact rip-off. And it's not necessarily a rip-off because Stanley made it first, and Lie-Nelson is actually just making old Stanleys. Stanley made it first. But what's really good about this one is its quality, its finish. Aside from the knob, it's really heavy. It's the same size. It's the same tolerance level as far as the bed is ground completely flat. The bottom, the sole, the sides, everything is ground square and flat. Out of the box, I had zero maintenance to do. Even the blade is A2 steel, which is what Lie-Nelson uses. What Lie-Nelson doesn't use is this, the Norris style adjuster that I love so much for all my low angle stuff. And I just don't understand why they don't use this. It's not, I don't know. You can argue with me on that in the comments, and I'll love to hear your feedback on why, but it just works, and it's just a step above. So it's essentially the same plane as the Lie-Nelson, aside from the lack of lateral adjustment on the more expensive tool. And this is an aluminum cap versus a solid brass one. One thing I do want to note is on this adjuster, as with most cheap planes, there is a little bit of play before the blade is engaged. So it's engaged, and I'll let you see how long it takes to start backing it out. And it's engaged in moving the blade. So that right there is a little bit meh. It's once you have your blade set, it doesn't move. There's no backlash. It stays where it's supposed to, which is fantastic. Alright, so I've compared it to the Lie-Nelson. It has the same basic everything, but it's $100 less. The Veritas, on the other hand, is another $100 more than this plane, and it does have a few differences. The Veritas one is wider, so you are getting more plane for your money. The blade is the optional PMV 11 steel, which holds an edge better than anything I've ever used. And the tote is the handle, and this is very similar to the Lie-Nelson. It's not as elegant, it doesn't have as much curves, but the Veritas one is really chunky and it stands almost straight up. And they claim that instead of pushing your force behind it, it forces you to hold it in a better stance, which gives you more force towards the wood. But I have smaller hands, so that tends to make my hand hurt after using it for a couple of hours. So this is a bit of a middle ground. This tote is a little bit beefier, set at a different angle than both the Lie-Nelson and the Veritas, but it's in between the two. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is Stanley kind of took a little bit from Veritas, a little bit from Lie-Nelson, and threw it into this plane and made it this. And thank you, Stanley, because they really did a great job. And I'm so impressed. So, its price. If you go online, and I'll put the link below in the description, this comes out at $135 online. And aside from that, the Lie-Nelson version is $245. So it's over $100 difference. The Veritas comes in at $252, or if you upgrade to the PMV11 steel, it's $265. It's just, I mean, for literally less than $150, you get the best of both worlds. There are some little finicky bits about it, but I really do not believe that those finicky things are worth $100. That's all I got for this guy. Please let me know what you think about it, and if you have it, if you've had this problem, let me know, because I was a little disappointed in that. But all in all, I mean, just, I've said it so many times and I'll continue to say it. It's just remarkable what Stanley has done within the $150 budget to give you a really nice hand plane. I mean, it looks good. It's got a nice curve to it. This little guy has the matching curves. I love the logo, and it's just a great little tool. Alright, so we're back. The plane's put back together, and after everything that I've gone over, I hope that you can feel comfortable about whether or not you should buy this. If you're looking at getting your first plane, I'd highly recommend it, especially if you're trying to stay on a budget. It's quite a fantastic plane. So the last question is, would I do it again? And I think y'all know the answer, but it's absolutely. It's a fantastic plane. I hate that it's got this ugly little spot on the top, but it performs perfectly. It's purely cosmetic, and it's just a reminder that, you know, sometimes in life not everything's perfect, and that's okay. And it's just a great tool. I'm anxious to see how it holds up over the years. It's already a few years old and it's still kicking great. It doesn't really show any signs of just rusting away. I highly recommend it. If you have this plane, please let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you had any trouble with it, as always, I look forward to y'all's comments. And until next time, I'll see you then.